Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast with me, Jerry D. And guys, this is a special episode, okay? In the first couple of seasons, I've introduced a couple of episodes which were called Before/After the Ring. And why do I do that? Because I love love. And that's the best way to put it. I love seeing people in love. I love seeing love being played out in people's lives. And today I've got two very special guests and they're very special friends. And I say that because they've been in my church for maybe a year or two now. And sometimes what happens in church is there's so many people in your church and usually you just say, hi, how are you? Bye. Because there's so many people to talk to. But I've really got to know these people in the last couple of months. Got to have lunch with them with my sister, which was a fantastic time of getting to know them. But I'm so thankful that these guys have agreed to come onto the podcast. It is the wonderful Flavio and Monica. Guys, welcome to the podcast. How are you both doing?
Hi, Jerry. Thank you so much for having us. We are delighted to be here. We are very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It'll be a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And do you know what, guys? We are going to kick it off with a round that I like to call rapid fire. Now, don't worry about the rapid. The rapid is supposed to be quick. It's not. Relax, enjoy it. Usually I do a rapid fire round where I ask a guest, what's your favorite color socks or whatever. But I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to ask Monica questions about Flavio, and then I'm going to ask Flavio questions about Monica.
Okay.
Because we like to have fun, right?
Okay.
And in the context of honoring and respecting women, I'm going to have Monica go first. Are you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
Great. What is Flavio's favorite hobby?
Play video games.
Good. Any sort of video games? Is there a genre or?
He likes anything that you have to shoot someone else and FIFA.
Brilliant. And this question is a two-part question, okay? What's Flavio's least favorite meal or favorite type of food that he doesn't like?
I think he eats salad, vegetables, healthy food. So basically that.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. And what is his favorite meal? Now, if he was to make one meal, when you say we'll have this food and he lights up, what's his favorite food to have?
I think meat, like a beef. He
like
just
steak.
loves steaks, beef,
Cool.
meat. Yeah.
Brilliant. And so there's two types of people, right? There's those who wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and they have their coffee and they watch the sunrise. And then there's people who are night owls who function later in the day. Which one is Flavio? Is he a morning person or a night person?
I would say, can he be both? Because he's kind of both. Like
Sure.
He wakes up anytime. Like if he needs to wake up at 5, he will and function. And if he needs to stay up late, he will as well. So he works pretty much mornings and evenings. So he's both.
Yeah. I like that. I like that because you're similar to me. When you have to be up, you're up. But when you don't have to be up, it's like, yep, turn the alarm off. I'll sleep. And the Lord himself will wake me up when it's time to get up.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Monica, what is Flavio's favorite clothing brand? Does he have a couple or one or?
Well, there is one. It's a Japanese brand, and Uniqlo is the name.
Okay.
And I think if he could have everything from that brand, he would, like every single thing.
Brilliant. And the last question, does Flavio have a favorite type of music that he likes to listen to? A genre maybe?
I would say mostly Christian songs. That's what he like, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I could get this wrong. I don't know what this. Can he answer this one? Because I don't know.
No, I think she kind of got it right. And like 2 or 3 months ago, I started to put all my alarms to kind of some piano playlists. And now I listen to it all the time because even for work, I like to put it some background music going on. And if it is like a regular music that kind of like pop or rock will kind of distract me. So if it's just like a piano kind of soundtrack works like a background noise for me works. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Flavio, Monica has done her rapid fire round, but before we move on to you, I want to ask you, how did your wife do? Did she get 100% or?
yeah, no, I think she got 100%. Yeah.
Ah,
Well done, Monica. Monica,
wow,
whew, you
congrats
can
to
breathe now, huh?
you.
But now, Flavio,
Yeah, that was me.
dun-dun-dun, it's your turn.
That's
You
okay.
ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
So, what's Monica's favorite clothing brand?
I would say probably Uniqlo as well, as it's like there's a lot of basic clothing, so it's easy for both of us.
Okay,
So they probably the same.
cool. And does Monica have a favorite movie or a favorite genres of movies that she likes to watch?
Uh, she usually don't like movies because she thinks they're too long, and so she was sleep through it. But if I had to pick a genre, maybe like animation, probably would be something, or either like I think that there are extremes, either animation or like something with kind of a murder. So like the
Yeah,
two extremes, probably. Yeah.
brilliant. And when Monica likes to relax or chill out after a busy day, is there a particular thing that she likes to do or have or enjoy to relax?
She'll probably play some game on her phone.
Okay,
And I think that is like the highest possibility. Yeah.
yeah, brilliant. And what is Monica's favorite food?
Chips.
Chips.
Yeah, like in whatever way or whatever kind of other thing together, but chips all the
Brilliant,
way.
brilliant. And the last one, is Monica a morning person or a night person?
A morning person, definitely. Like she can easily wake up her day at like 5 and be happy with that. And if she could, she would go to bed at 7.
Wow,
So
wow, brilliant. So Flavio, you have done the rapid fire round. Monica, how did he do?
No, very well, very well. I'm impressed.
Brilliant. You're both smiling, which means that's a good sign.
yeah.
Brilliant. Guys, this is the Hope Sessions podcast, okay? And every guest that I have on has a story of hope about how Jesus himself came into their life and transformed them. So what I would like to do is I would like to start with whoever wants to go first, actually, but both of you, if you could share your story for a couple of minutes or so, just to let us know who you are, how you came to faith, a bit of your life growing up, just so our listeners and myself can gain a better understanding of the journey you've both been on.
Mhm.
So whoever wants to go first.
You can start.
Sure. So for me, I was born in a Christian home actually.
Yeah.
So like going to church every Sunday was very common for my family. Actually, my parents were, and they are still very active in church. So they would join every service. And our church in Brazil, like they have small groups that happens at a house. So
Yeah.
my parents actually opened their house to have those groups. So it's a time that people would worship together, share the word, like learn more about God.
Yeah.
And growing up for me was a bit like overwhelming because my parents were very restricted with church. I was very curious and I wanted to fit in with my friends at school. And like my parents were always like, no, that's not what God wants. God would disapprove this and that. And for me, like growing up was a bit too much. But I was like, my parents always said, no, you have to go to church. So every Sunday I would go to church. I would be
Yeah.
there listening and learning, even though if I didn't want or if I didn't see the reason why, I would always be there. And that helped me a lot because, like, as a teenager, when I felt lonely or when I didn't know what to do or when I didn't feel loved or anything, I remembered clearly in my head all the songs we used to sing as a kid in kids' church, all the stories that they told us in kids' church. And that really helped me, like, going through. And it's not like I was doing wrong things or I don't know, but I was just curious. I just wanted to fit in, you know.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 18 years old in church camp, something changed in the place, and I felt like I wanted to have a real relationship with God. I want to, like, because I always heard that God doesn't have grandkids, they have like sons and daughters. And
That's right.
I don't want to be like, I wanted to be like his daughter. I want to
Yeah.
have a relationship with my father. And since then, it changed. Like I started going to church because I wanted, and I saw a purpose, and I start like learning more about God and really like build that relationship. And even when we came to Ireland, the first thing that we did was look for a church for to be like our family, to be like
Yeah.
connected with the body of Christ. And now in Core Church, we go, like I serve in the kids ministry. And one of the reasons is that that was so important for me growing up.
Yeah.
Like it's a seed that is planted when you're very, very young, and it grows like through life. So I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to join the ministry, and it's been such a blessing for us.
Amen.
And yeah, that's my
That's awesome.
testimony. Yeah.
I love it. I think I love what you said there about that God doesn't have grandchildren, but he has sons and daughters. I love that because sons, yes, grandkids are intimate, and my mom loves my nephew Joshua like nothing else in the world. But there's a different intimacy with a son and daughter compared to a grandchild. A son and daughter lives in close proximity with the father. And I just think, Monica, what you said there is absolutely fantastic. I've never actually thought of it that way before. So that's awesome to know, just even to hear a bit of your journey, because oftentimes you can see people in church and you just think, oh, they're a Christian. Yeah, cool. Hello, but you don't see that, you don't wake up a Christian. You make a commitment and a choice to become a Christian by putting your faith in Jesus. So to hear a bit of your journey has been quite encouraging. It really has. So thank you for sharing that. And Flavio, would you do the same, my friend? Would you share a bit of your journey growing up and how you came to faith in Jesus?
Sure, absolutely. I was raised like kind of a Catholic by like in a standard mode, even though my parents didn't go to church. They
Yeah.
want us to do the christening, to do all the steps in church,
Yeah.
but they never really kind of follow up into that. They never kind of set an example in that sense.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of like when I was 15, I had like a rough year in terms like in 14 months. I lost two grandmas, one grandparent, and my parents got divorced. And with the divorce, kind of like some financial difficulties happening in terms of
Yeah.
like a lot of uncertainty. So it was a period of me completely like, I was finishing some, I guess it was christening. And then I kind of like, I didn't want to know anything about church because I was like, how can my grandma, who was a person that I saw that was the only one actually following church, like how could she die and all this, and how could all of these things come to happen? I mean, like now I understand, but when I was a teenager, I was like all angry about that. And so I just want to kind of get away and didn't want to look into that direction. And those all only later when I met Monica, and then when we start going out for like, it took 3 months for her parents to allow us to actually start going out for the first time because I wasn't in church. But one of their conditions was, okay, so you want to like be boyfriend and girlfriend, okay, but even though you're not from church, you need to go to church with her. And I was like, okay, that's the condition, fine, I'm going. And I would say for the first year, I'll just go there and see it and like kind of block it. I'll stay quite on my own. Just I was used to think like, okay, so I need to stay here for 2 hours. I'm gonna stay here for 2 hours. That's fine for me. Sit on my own, and I don't mind about that. But I think like getting close to Monica and to her family, I start to kind of see things and notice things in terms of kind of, it's not just behavior, but kind of behavior and kind of like how they have a certain peace that I never had when like in my family, or that I never had growing up.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of start to attract me. And at the same time as well, as I was in church every Sunday, I kind of like, I was listening anyway. And I think God knows us a lot, so he kind of knew what would attract me. That's how I like to think, at least.
Yeah.
He knew what would attract me, and like I'm really into history and this kind of stuff. So I even remember we have kind of a series of preaching into in some historical facts that kind of brought me and started to make me think a lot about it. And also, I want to have that piece and also the curiosity about the historical things in the Bible. And so I asked Monica, okay, so teach me about all that. I want to know. So we start to have kind of sessions with the book for kind of conversion that Monica had. So after a couple of sessions, I gave my life to God. And then when we had the baptism later that year, I got baptized. And I think like it's not like the journey had ended, but I do like it is completely different the way I see my life now from back then. When I look, it's like totally different person. Many aspects, it's crazy, and it's weird. We even talk like I kind of don't understand how I used to live without God. And like it's such a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
No, it really is weird because I would think like, how could I live? How could I think without? How could I do anything without thinking about God? It's so, it's so different now.
Yeah.
So I guess that'll be my testimony.
Do you know, I was sitting there listening to your testimony, Flavio, and our testimony is quite similar in a couple of different ways. Obviously, you were going to church to win Monica's heart, right? Because you were in the relationship. But in the process of you trying to win Monica's heart, Jesus also won your heart as well. So for me, I wasn't going to church to win someone's heart. My brother Danny he went through a rehab center. So when he came home once a month to my family, he had to go to a Christian born again Bible believing church, which to me I thought was every church. I was just like, yeah, whatever church. And I would go to support him, oh yeah, no problem. God bless you. And I'd just sit in church and I'd be like, but while I was sitting in church, God was just speaking to me through worship, even through the announcements, just to see that a church doesn't have to be a dead, boring place, but it's alive. There's different things happening in a church to help every one of us grow, and like even you said there, like growing up, you would have just went to church on special occasions. I was the same when there was a wedding or a funeral or Easter or Christmas. And for me, I'd always sit at the back. And when the priest would say, this is the body of Christ and give out communion, I used to get so excited because I knew that church was almost over and I could race out and go play football or see my friends or PlayStation or whatever. So in a lot of ways, our story is quite similar, man. And I love to see how you both have come from such different backgrounds. Monica grew up in a Christian home. You grew up in a non-Christian home, and yet how God has brought you both together. Because what we're going to do now, we're going to transition into a couple of questions to help us dialogue, right? This podcast episode is called Before/After the Ring. And these are my favorite sort of episodes because I love seeing people in love. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's true. It's awesome to see people just opening themselves up to the possibility of finding a life partner, and you guys have, and God has brought you both together. And what we're going to do now is we're going to work through a series of questions. Does that sound cool?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Some of the questions will be for you both. Some of them will be maybe for Monica or Flavio, because obviously Monica can speak to the women, Flavio, you can speak to the men. So the first question I have is, how did you guys meet? So do one of you want to share how you met, what it looked like,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so Flavio went to college with my sister.
Okay.
And back then I had like a blog and I used to write loads of things about TV shows. And Flavio started following my blog and we started.
But that was something that I think she will mention, but I remember I was doing a project with her sister on I don't know if it was a big thing in Ireland, but we used to use a lot of MSN Messenger.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was talking to her sister about a project for college that we're doing. Then I remember she asked, "Okay, my sister wants to add you and start talking to you.
Yeah.
Is it okay for you?" I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." But for me, she was just a kid back then because she
Yeah.
was in school. So I was like, "Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, no, we talk about TV shows." I was like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah. But for me, I thought it was very cool that he was like reading everything I was writing in that blog, you know. And then we start like talking through a messenger and we talked for like years and years. We met in 2011. I was still in school, he was already in college, but it was just like friendship.
Yeah.
And we talked, and like our friendship was like, we became like close friends. I don't know, like we felt free to share everything with each other and all. But then we only start dating in 2014. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we got married in 2019. And yeah, we are married for 3 years and a half now.
That's awesome. And do you know what I love, even just as I asked the first question, I love the fact that although Monica answered the question, that you both have such a chemistry where you both bounce off each other really well, even from just talking how Flavio remembers a particular part of the story and you do too, because that really helps to give a wider context to some of the questions. So I'm loving that. That's really awesome. The next question I have is, right, so I love, and I don't mind saying this, I'm a big fan of musicals. And this is a shameless plug. Have you watched High School Musical?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, okay?
Yeah,
I
was
know all of them.
It's not like my thing, but
Okay. Because I know them all. I've watched all the movies and I know all the songs. You know, and in all these movies or romantic movies and that, there's always that place in the movie where the guy looks at the girl. Oftentimes it's the guy who takes the leading charge and says, "I love you." But I wanted to ask you guys a question. Who said "I love you" first? And do you remember where it was?
Yeah, it was me. I said I love you first, but
Wow.
I text him
was through
actually. Yeah,
message.
it was through message. I
Yeah.
was a bit, I knew he loved me and I knew he wasn't gonna say that first. And I
Okay.
was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say so he can say it back.
And
He
did he
can
say it back?
finally admit. Yeah, of course.
Hey, well done, Flavio. Well done, my man. Brilliant.
I guess like we didn't have like as we live quite far, like even though we're the same city, we were quite far apart and like really busy routines. We would see each other only on weekends, or like either once, if sometimes once a week. So we texted a lot to each other. So I think that
Yeah.
was like
Brilliant. And obviously, so you've started dating. Now you've said "I love you," and then there was a point where you guys got engaged. And what was the engagement like? Did you know the engagement was happening? What was the day like? Was there nervousness there?
I didn't know. I didn't know at all
Okay.
because I remember I always told Flavio I want first to graduate in college, then think about marriage. I didn't want to I had this in mind. First, I need to graduate, and then we can think about getting married or so on. Because Flavio wanted to get married, like
Yeah.
quickly.
and you didn't want to have like a long engagement as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So I said no. Once we get engaged, I want like at least like in a few months or in a year just to get married. I didn't want to be like engaged for ages, you know.
Yeah.
So I had just finished college, but I thought like I don't know, I wasn't expecting at all. I thought he would, I don't know, give me some hints before, you know. And I remember it was a Saturday. I worked in the morning, and then when I left work, he went to my house and he said we were going out for lunch. And we got lunch, it was fun time. And then just when we finished the lunch, then he proposed to me and I was shocked. I was like, I think I asked 20 times, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Because I couldn't believe it. And then I asked, but did you talk to my family? Like, did you talk to my dad?
Yeah, because like I know that for her, it's something that's like I knew that would be important for her if I asked her parents first.
Yeah.
And also I knew that if I asked her parents first, it would need to be like in a way that they didn't see her after, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to kind of hold the secret.
Okay.
So I did it all at once. Like before, who actually the only person who knew before Monica was my sister, who actually helped me to get the ring and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like really bad with that kind of stuff. So I asked my sister, okay, like I'm gonna propose to Monica. So like where do I buy a ring? I don't even know that. Like, so she kind of helped me on that. And then kind of I make a schedule. I remember I was really nervous, messaging her mom to saying like, oh, like can we go for a coffee and like talk about it? But I didn't want to say over the message, but I guess probably her mom kind of knew what was it
Yeah.
coming from, it'd be weird for me just asking. So I'll say, Laura, can I go to like to coffee with you and Monica's father just to talk? And she said, fine. And then it was like a Saturday morning, I went, talked to her parents. And it was funny because I even brought with me a PowerPoint presentation because we're going to move abroad already. I had thought about that. So I tried to plan a lot. So I really want to show to them that I was prepared to meet Monica. So I remember being the coffee and asking them the question. I was crazily nervous about even they saying no, because I was thinking like, what if they don't allow me to propose her? Like, but thank God that they said yes, they allowed it. So then we went to lunch, and then I also knew that like we didn't want to make like something public. So it was after lunch when we got into the car. It was just us, no one around us. Then I proposed.
Yeah, because I would hate if he proposed in front of loads of people. I would feel like so embarrassed, So he knew everything and he did it perfectly.
Awesome. I think I like what you said there, Flavio, and even Monica, about how it was a personal proposal rather than a public one. Because I would be the same. I mean, one day when I get married, I would definitely like to take that moment and make it personal. Now I get why some people do it in public, but sometimes it's a bit like, okay, like, do you know what I mean? Relax. These people are not going to be at your wedding. They're just in the area, so but well done. I wanted to ask you, Flavio, because obviously you had to go for that coffee with her mom and dad. And what were the nerves like? Was it a difficult conversation? Was it an enjoyable one, or?
It was, I guess, I mean, at the end of it, or if the answer was enjoyable, but at the beginning, like, it's funny because I was so nervous, I was sweating so much. I put a shirt, and the moment when I left the coffee, the shirt was completely wet because I was like, wow. I was really nervous. It was funny because I remember sitting in the, when we sat, and they were kind of like, okay, so you ask it to meet us, so come on. And I was like, so, like that kind of nervous, like, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're fine. I was like, so, and I think the beginning was quite hard. Obviously, it was hard. Like a million things going through my mind. What if they say no? What if they ask about a lot of points and I already have practiced a lot of kind of arguments in my mind. What if they say no because of this or that? I'm gonna, okay, what is the next step? What I need to say to kind of trying to convince them. So I had worked a lot in my mind. Sure, that went kind of different. I mean, they said yes, so big relief. But sure, I had to say to them, oh, okay, yeah, and we plan to move and this and that, and because I know that like how Monica is so precious to them, I kind of need to kind of give to them some assurance that I'll be as the way they were taking care of her, I'll need to take care of her. So I'll need to kind of assure that they could kind of trust her to be there for her, So I mean, at the end of, as they said, it was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I was thinking there, just as you said, there was a million things going through your mind. Have you ever had an instance, or I think we all have at some point in every week, where you do so much thinking in your head, you have everything lined up and how you're going to say it, and then the moment comes where you have to talk to someone like that, and your mind just decides to go to sleep? And then you're like, so, like, and you know what you want to say, but the words, they're no longer there. So you're like,
Yeah.
you have to think on the spot almost.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think I I have like a higher level of anxiety. So I'll say that I think about way too much all the time.
Sure.
So, but and then exactly like that, when I'm gonna actually do stuff, it goes completely different because
Yeah, absolutely. So now you have spoken to her parents and you've got the permission, you've proposed to Monica, and now you're on the journey to getting married. Um, I suppose because obviously at the wedding day, there's a lot of stuff that happens, but prior to the wedding, there's an awful lot of preparation that goes on, stress, worrying, planning, organizing. And if you guys were to go back and redo your wedding, is there anything that you maybe would have done differently in terms of the preparation or, do you know?
That's a hard question. I don't think so. Like,
Yeah,
I think because we prayed so much for the wedding day, but like also for the preparation. I didn't want to be like nervous or super stressed and stress Flavio and stress my family because it was already a stressful moment because we got married on a Sunday and then the following Saturday we moved to Ireland. So it was so stressful for everybody because like we were gonna move, so we have to organize everything, packed everything.
yeah,
And I just want things to go like smoothly, and thank God, like it was such a blessing time. Like everything, like all the preparations, visiting the venues, talking to every person that we would have to hire to the wedding, and so it was so easy. I don't know. I can't even explain. I think it was like so smooth, so easy. We enjoyed so much the time to organize the guest list, to organize everything. And then we were so anxious to come, like to move, to come to Ireland. And I don't know, I don't think I would change anything actually.
that's
I
cool.
don't-
yeah, no, I mean it's funny. Like we were even talking about this recently. That personally, I was so nervous about it that I almost don't remember anything that the pastor told us during the
the same.
during the ceremony. Like I was in another place. But I mean, I wouldn't change. It was completely. I think we even grow a lot during the process of the pre-wedding process with everything going on.
Yeah,
We even had some learning on that process. So I mean, I wouldn't change anything. It
Yeah,
was pretty perfect.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I love it. So now you've gone through the preparation. You guys have, which is I think is awesome for to know that you both said you wouldn't change it because you'd often hear people say, "Oh, we wouldn't have spent as much money here," or maybe invited as many people, or different reasons for different purposes, right? And so now you've got engaged. You're now planning the wedding, and now it's the wedding day. There's two parts of a wedding day that will always be my favorite from many weddings I've been at, and it's the moment where the bride walks down the aisle and to watch the groom look at her, whether his face is down and he looks up and the tears come or whatever. And then the second one is when the married couple have their first dance. And I wanted to ask you guys about your wedding day, and I'll ask you both individually. What was your favorite part of the wedding day? Obviously, it was getting married, but
Oh, that's hard. I don't know. You wanna go first?
Okay, I think for me, I would say. I mean, Monica's obviously gorgeous, and like, but I think it was kind of the. I think why probably during like during the ceremony itself, my mind was like everywhere, but it just being, I was like happy of having that, like we're actually doing that. That's just crazy, man. That's so good. And like if I had to pick a moment, I would say the vows, because
Mhm.
that was something that was like pretty nice, and like we're both kind of like quiet a bit. So it was like a kind of good
Yeah, we
moment.
wrote our vows and then we
Oh,
had to share like what we wrote.
Yeah.
And it was pretty special. Like it was very nice. I was gonna say I think that was actually my favorite moment. Like we were very like we were ourselves in that moment, like just saying like our vows to each other in front of our family and our friends, and it was like really really special. Like it's something that we won't forget, I'd say. I hope.
that's awesome. I love that. The fact that you guys have put more, I wouldn't say effort. I think the effort's probably the wrong word to use, but there was a special touch on your wedding because you both wrote your own vows, which I think is good because that requires a bit more effort on your part to sit down and think about the vows and think about the person you're making the vows to. And so I think that's really special that you guys have done that. And now you guys have got married. Your honeymoon was probably your trip to Ireland. You've been living in Ireland for 2-3 years now, right? And obviously there's a lot of living that has happened in the last 3 years. You know, you both live together, you work, you're involved in church, and life just happens. Is there one thing though, or is there a couple of things that that you both love about marriage? You know, obviously you're married to each other. Is there one thing you love about being married or a couple, or is there something you've learned maybe that you could help the listeners with?
Well, I think we have like because we came here, like we don't have our families around us. We don't we like now we have friends, but when we came here, we didn't know anyone, and we only had each other. So we had to be there for each other, like,
Yeah,
and it was like hard at the start, like a bit frustrating, like coming here and then you have to find the house, you have to find the job, you have to like restart your life.
yeah,
And like I don't know, we got so close to each other that like I don't know, we have so much fun and we are there for each other on the good times, on the bad times.
yeah,
And I think that's actually my favorite part of our marriage is just that we only have each other, so
yeah,
we I know I can trust like on Flavio with everything,
yeah,
and I know he trusts me for everything as well, and I know he'll be there for me and he knows I'll be there for him,
yeah,
like through any situations. And we know that like our love is strong as well because like being here restart like kind of restarting your life, we've been through so much, and it's just such a blessing, you know, like you're married to your best friend and like you
yeah,
have fun every day. That's I think that's my favorite thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say like kind of based on my like previous experience, not that I was married before, but like based on like my parents' marriage and this kind of thing, I guess I would expect marriage to be something not as fun as it is. I mean, like I love being married. It's we have so much fun. Not that everything's perfect,
yeah,
but it is a fun experience. I mean, even when we have challenges, we can laugh about it maybe later on, but it's still like it's this partnership that we have, the fact that we can, like Monica said, rely on each other so much
yeah,
and have a good time, you know. And it's like a lot of people said to Monica uh when we arrived, oh, I can't believe you're married, you're too young and this kind of thing, like you're not gonna enjoy your life. And it's funny because like I think we're enjoying our life so much being married.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it's it's like it's so fun. That's
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm
the word.
so pro marriage in that way because it's like it's there's gonna be challenges. Yes, there are challenges. There's stuff, but it's such a fun time. It's such a good time. So
I love it. I love both of your responses because they're both different, you know. And I love the fact that there's a real love for you both. And I can see it because I'm hearing it, but I'm also seeing how you're both looking at each other when one another is responding to the question. And it's really, it's actually quite special to be able to see that even on this podcast episode, you know. And you guys, like most people, when they get married, it's like they're already in a job, they're already, you know, in a country where they're going to stay. But for you guys, it was a massive change, like to go from Brazil to come to Ireland. I know the Irish culture for me, it's because I'm British. So I moved to Ireland in 2003 when I was 7. So I'm basically Irish at this point. And the Irish culture is very slow, chill, relaxed. Is the Brazilian culture maybe more fast-paced, more demanding of your time, or what was that transition like for you both?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like we are from São Paulo, which is the biggest city in Brazil. It's like 20 million people living there.
Wow.
And it's like it's crazy. It's very stressful, like traffic everywhere. But at the same time, if you want to do, I don't know, anything at 2 in the morning, you will find like things open 3, 4 in the morning. If you want to eat hot dog at 4 in the morning, you'll find plenty places open. And
Wow.
like you have a lot of things going on, loads of things to do. And then when we came to Cork, everything closed at 7. We were like, what are we gonna do? So at the start, like it was hard because first we never lived together.
Yeah.
So we were starting like to live together. And then in a new country, in another language,
Yeah.
and like in such a different culture in terms of like fast pacing and slow pacing now. And that was like a big shock at the start. But
Yeah.
I'd say now after 3 years, I can see myself living in a big city anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there were challenges, and I remember like when we were planning, I even told Monica recently. She used to tell me like, okay, like I want to go, but I don't want to. I don't want to starve. I don't want to be in the streets asking for food. And like I would say to her, no, it's not gonna happen. But inside I was thinking like, oh my God, please don't. Like, and then I think that was kind of a big thing for me moving here. I was keeping thinking, okay, I mean, I need to make this kind of like worth for her, kind of like a good experience for her. Like,
Yeah.
I made she kind of move from college. Come on, like I gotta deliver something here.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of part into this challenge of the whole moving
Yeah.
into the like with the marriage together. So
Yeah,
That's awesome. And then I suppose I wanted to ask you because I know what Irish people are like. I think Irish people are my favorite people in the whole world.
yeah.
They're easy company, they're good banter. But what was it like for you guys when you came here? How were you received? What was your first impressions of Irish people like, maybe?
I like I think Irish people are very, very friendly
Mm,
and like everybody since the start always like welcome us,
yeah,
helped us. Like we never felt any kind of prejudice or anything. Like
yeah.
people are really, really welcoming here and really nice. People
Mm,
are so nice in here. Like
yeah.
now that we drive here, like people are so nice in
yeah,
traffic. Oh my God. Like never they're never cross. Like you're so I think for me, Irish people are so chilled, so like pleasant.
Sure.
It's easy to start a conversation. And I think like Irish people are very, very friendly
yeah.
and just very, very nice.
But I think like in a kind of two. I mean, I think that they are extremely friendly. They are quite reserved.
Yeah.
So it's they're gonna be extremely nice. But I think it is I'll say quite hard, but like it'll take time for a kind of to become friends
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
because I think especially like in the context like people here they usually like have known each other since they were two and their
Yeah.
parents know each other and so it's there is a bit of a closed community sense.
Mhm.
But I know that that's not because we are foreigners or anything like that, because even talking to other Irish people that have moved to cities, they say that they kind of have been through this phase of like the during like the first year, people just would say hi to be really nice, but
Yeah.
it take some time for that to kind of develop and to actually become like friendship thing, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's awesome. Do you know, and you guys now, not only are you a part of our church, but you're both serving in our church. Monica, you've mentioned kids ministry. Flavio, you are helping with the sound and all that techie stuff that I just don't have the patience to help with. So thank you for doing as well as you do with that, my man. But you both are also on the young adults leadership team, and young adults is a thriving ministry in our church. It's my favorite ministry of the whole church. but don't tell anyone, okay? Well, except the listeners will find out, because I love it, because people in other ministries, a lot of times it's the youth on a Friday night, they're there because their parents make them go or drop them off, you know, to get the night off. Whereas young adults, it's like, if you want to be there, cool. If not, okay. And yet every week where it's a packed house every week where people are coming and making friends and worshiping and sitting under great ministry. But I wanted to ask you both an individual question, because I'm going to say it because I'm a single guy and I think I'm at liberty to say this. Irish people make dating awkward. When someone like when someone knows that someone likes someone, suddenly they're going, it's like, no. It's like, relax. He's single. She's single. Yes, they're talking. Why? Because he's looking for a life partner. So is she. But I wanted to I'll ask Monica the question first.
Okay.
What advice, Monica, would you give women, maybe who are looking to step into dating, or maybe there's a guy who's sliding into their DMs, showing a bit of interest, and she's kind of not sure, or, you know, speak to the women, and what advice you would give as a married woman who has gone through that stage.
Yeah, sure. I think the first thing, it's very important, and sometimes we just underestimate it, is find a person that has a relationship with God. That's the main thing. Like, because I will start dating and then he will come to church. I was very lucky that Flavio came to church after we started dating, but that's not what like usually happens.
Sure.
Most of the time it's easier for you to go like to the wrong way instead of the guy coming to church, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really, really important that you find a person that is close to God and like invest in that. And I think the second thing is, if you're not sure about the guy, pray, because God always answer. Sometimes not what we want to, but he does answer. And like, just ask, just be honest to God, because that's like, it's the second most important decision of your life. Of course, the first one is giving your life to Jesus, but the second one will be like, who are you going to spend the rest of your life with?
That's
and
right.
like, that's such an important decision. So don't rush, don't like, it's okay if it's not that person. God will provide someone else. So don't rush, and always trust in God, because he does care. Like, he cares for us. He cares like for our future. He has good plans for everyone who trusts him. So ask God. He'll be delighted to know that we want to know his opinion, and go for it.
Yeah, I love it. Go for it. What a way to close out. And I love what you said, like someone that loves Jesus, that knows Jesus. You know, it's so important, isn't it? Like, because you want someone who's on the same page as you.
Yes, exactly.
You know, serving God, so that you both have the right foundation before you step into marriage, before you start having kids and all these other awesome things that come. But I love what you said, go for it, because a lot of Irish people don't say that. It's very like, yeah, not sure. Like, I text them and they left me on scene. They haven't texted me back. I'm not sure. It's like Steph Curry, right? I always use this analogy. Steph Curry is a basketball player. You guys know I'm a massive NBA fan, right?
Yeah.
In a game, Steph Curry will shoot maybe 40 to 45 times at the basket, and he may score 28 to 30 times. So my encouragement, as you said, Monica, is go for it. Even if you shoot your shot and that person doesn't want you to go on a date with them, there might be someone else looking to show interest. So go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Flavio, I'm going to ask you, because the same question, my man, because as men, we think about this stuff all the time. And if a man says, no, I'm just focused on Jesus, that's rubbish. Yes, you're focused on Jesus, but you're also looking around and you're like, she looks cute. She looks gorgeous. She's on the worship team. I wonder about taking her out for lunch. And we think about that all the time because we want to get married. And what better place to find a wife than in the church, in a young adults ministry, someone who is active in your church. But Flavio, what advice would you give, my friend, to guys in the dating? Because sometimes we overthink this sort of stuff.
I think, like Monica said, pray. But yeah, but be open, prepared for the answer. That may not be the one you want to hear back
Yeah.
from Jesus. You may be like, sometimes we pray kind of already hoping for just a confirmation, and well, sometimes that's not what gonna come from. But you need to be open and understand on that. Also, don't put expectations. Don't create it. Try to not create expectations before everything. Not just because it's not just because you're starting talking to a girl that you're gonna marry her. Like, no, things have a pace. Things have a time.
Yeah.
Everything goes happening in certain time.
Yeah.
And what else? I think like at the same time, I agree with Monica. Like, go for it. See if that's like that person's the person for you. If not, that's fine. But then when you decide to, especially because I think then when you decide to have a relationship, now that's gonna become something serious.
Yeah.
Like, don't just create a relationship to just have it, or you don't get married just to be married. It's a commitment. So do it when when you're completely sure about it, when you feel that's God's way for you to do that. Otherwise, there's no reason for to rush things out.
Yeah.
I think as a guy, sometimes we would rush too much because we would want things to kind of happen in our pace.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's as understanding that when the process start, people are going to be different. You are a different person. You were raised by your family. The girl was raised by her family with different kind of thoughts. So, give yourself some time to adjust. You might need to let go of your beliefs. You might need to not believe in the sense of Christ, no, but in your kind of if you're picky with something, you might need to change your mind on that.
Yeah.
You need to learn from this process. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I'm really pro wedding. It's totally worth it. It's gonna be a process. It's not gonna be an easy one.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. What a way to close out the podcast episode. There's two things I want to say though, and I'm not saying this as a married man because I'm a single Pringle. So hey, but there's two things I've learned, even as someone who is in the process of, as they say, scouting out your options, looking around, showing interest in people, and sometimes it doesn't progress into anything else. There's one thing I would say, and it's be honest from the very first conversation. Don't spend so much time texting someone when they're showing so much interest and enthusiasm and you're kind of just like, meh. Be honest. If you're not feeling it, that's totally fine. You're not supposed to be everyone's match, because what happens is the longer you leave it, the harder they fall. They can get hurt. So be honest in your conversations. And because by you being honest, you're honoring God, but you're also honoring the person that you're talking to. And there's one thing as well. One of my best friends in the whole world is my brother Danny, because he tells me the truth like that. He doesn't mess around. He just straight. And sometimes it's difficult to take it. But there's one thing he said in his process of dating Aoife, who he's now married to, and they've now got a lovely son called Joshua, who I think is going to be the greatest footballer in the world. Forget Neymar, forget Ronaldo, Messi, and all these players. It's going to be Joshua Doyle making headlines in about 20 years' time. In Jesus' name.
Let's see.
Yeah. And if he doesn't become a footballer, he'll be a spoken word artist like me.
Oh, yeah.
But there's one thing that Danny said about when he was dating Aoife. So him and Aoife served in the young adults ministry in Court Church for years, and they were just friends. He said it was like Aoife was almost hidden from him until the right time. Like they were just friends serving together, and then he describes it as the Lord just opening his eyes, and he suddenly just he looked at Aoife in a different way, and that was it. And he believes that the Lord was preparing both of them at the right time, that they would actually come across and enter into a relationship that would end up in marriage. So maybe I suppose my encouragement, and I suppose it's an encouragement to myself, I'm preaching to myself here as well, okay? Maybe the person that you're supposed to be married to or your life partner, maybe they're hidden from you at this point in time because God is working in you, but he's also working in your life partner. And at the right time, Ecclesiastes 3, have it tattooed on my arm, there's a time for everything under the sun, a time where the Lord will bring you both together. And what an awesome time that will be. But till then, don't get frustrated, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, okay? I listen to probably about 17 or 18 every week. And there's a couple I listen to, and they're on dating and marriage and that, because I want to know, I want to be prepared. I want to hear what people are saying about it. But be very careful, listeners, about how you consume advice from different people, because often you can hear advice, especially in the context of dating. You hear people saying they got married when they were 17 and you're like, but I'm 26. That doesn't relate to my life. So be very careful about how you consume information, because what can happen is if you start taking this information on board, where maybe your friend is married for 4 years and you're the same age as them, and suddenly in your mind you're getting anxious and worried and upset, and you're like, Lord, my friend's married, they've got 2 kids and I don't even have a partner. Like, what's happening? And remember that God is the one writing your love story, not you. The same way at the right time he came into your life and saved you is the same way that he brings all these blessings and provision into your life at the right time. And oftentimes it's when you least expect it. Do you know?
No, I think that's absolutely it, in the sense of like, even though I love Monica and I would love to have maybe met her earlier or get together early.
Yeah.
But not like knowing what I know now, I know that I was prepared to be with her in the time that I got to be with her, you know?
That's right.
And it is hard sometimes not to compare yourself, like I said, with friends the same age. You see some, but it's exactly like that. God has your path designed for yourself. Like, so it is what it is. Yeah, it's weird. Like if you, and maybe the person that you be close to you, like you said on any example, maybe not looking as a potential kind of like romantic partner, but maybe in the future that will be the case. Or maybe someone that you're looking with those eyes now for the future is not the person that you want to be spending time. So
and just trust God, because the plans that he has for us is just the best for us. So just trust that he's taking care of this. And he is like, it's not a person that is gonna like fill the hole in our heart. It's Jesus. So just trust God. The person like that you're with, like your partner, will be just it's more than a companionship, but like the one that will fill your heart, that will like fill the desires of your heart, is God. So just trust in him. And I think that, that's it. Just trust God. He has like the best for you.
And I think there's something that we usually say for marriage that I think even work, like this kind of thought works if you're not in a relationship yet, because we always say that in the marriage is like the husband and wife will be the like thinking on a triangle will be the base, and then God will be the top corner, and then as we're getting close to God, we'll be close to each other if we're close to God.
That's right.
So I think if you focus on being close to God, and same way that God tell us to not worry about like our clothes or food, he's telling us not to worry about relations. He's taking care of that as well. So focus on God, and then you be getting close to the partner that God has like planned for you in the future.
That's right. I love it. I love how we have talked about so much, and it has come back to the one thing. And Monica said it so wonderfully, and you reiterated what she said, and it's really trusting God. And what does that look like today? It looks like talking to the Lord, letting him know the desires of your heart, and then getting up from that place of prayer and getting on with your life, meeting up with friends, going to church, watching a movie, and just living life. You know, rather than sitting here with your big diagrams and your maps of how it's all going to work out. Forget the maps. He already has your map. It's already laid out. You know, and I want to take this moment, and I really sincerely mean this. thank you guys so much for giving up of your time. And I know you guys a little bit, but I look forward to just how our friendship develops over the coming years. I really do, because I'll never forget the Sunday me and my sister went for food with you both in Nosta, and just how initially when Emma mentioned it to me about going for food, I was like, that's great. But then I was also like, wow, I've never actually really spoken to these guys. But then I thank God when we met up that the conversation didn't end. It just got better and better and sweeter, and we were just talking. And now, Flavio, I play football with you every second week, every second Tuesday, and it's just great to see our friendship developing. And thank you guys for your support as well on a personal level, how you guys have always shown love and encouragement towards me in the short space of time that we've known each other. I really mean that. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us. It was such a privilege to us, and we are delighted actually with your invitation. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting us. And also thanks for your friendship as well. Like you said, I'm looking forward for like just to see it grow and develop over the years.
Yeah.
But again, it was quite a good thing for us to share this time with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast. I hope that you have taken a lot of notes. I hope that your heart has been encouraged by the many, many, many different things that Monica and Flavio have shared with you. I know I have. I've been encouraged by just dialoguing with them. But also, even as you click off this podcast, wherever you're listening to it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share it with a friend, a family member, a work colleague, or whoever. And I hope that you would take something from it. And guys, until next week, take care. God bless. And remember that hope is to life as oxygen is to the body. Take care. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast with me, Jerry D. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're tuning into it from. This greatly helps to spread the word about the podcast, but also to encourage other people to check it out for themselves. Until next week, take care, God bless, and don't forget, hope is to life as oxygen is to the body. Take care.